God of High School is a series that is honestly one of the most popular manhwas to ever exist. And along with that comes a crap ton of chapters. So, in the making of the anime, they can't possibly hope to cover every single detail of every single chapter that appears in the series. This leads to the anime having some details in and some details out. But it is my job as a talking pizza who loves anime to cover those things that were left out. So without further ado, my name is Tine Pizza, and here is everything God of High School missed. Now, the first topic that I would like to cover on going about things that were left out are the introductions. And for me, this was a very important thing that was left out the anime because it honestly gave us a glimpse into who our three main characters would be: Jin Marie, Han Dae-wi, and Yu Mi Ra. In the manhwa, the way these characters were introduced was in a soul leader type of style where they each got their own chapter / episode where we got to see what their motivation was, how they joined the God of High School, and how the recruitment went, and so on. For Jin Marie, our first main character, he was recruited into the tournament because honestly, he was just being an idiot. He was being a Goku-esque character, right? Like how Jin Marie has been displayed to us so far. And he was just walking around until blonde recruiter pulled up on him and he was like, hey, I want you to join the God of High School, right? And Jin Marie's style of fashion, he just walked right past him and be like, I don't care about all that, I just want to fight, right? And so blonde dude gets pressed about being ignored, so you know what, he presses Jin Marie in order to get his attention. He punches past him and he does the whole little anime thing where like all those like leaves or trees or whatever is destroyed behind you. Like basically the whole background is destroyed behind you just to show a display of strength, right? And so this interests Jin Marie, so he kicks him and breaks his arm, and he decides that he is going to participate in the God of High School as long as he gets a one-on-one with the blonde dude eventually. Now that right there was a lot of background on just Jin Marie alone, and that was all left out of the first episode, mind you, okay? And now we're going to go on to Han Dae-wi. And Han Dae-wi's isn't going to be as long as or as extremely overly detailed, but his whole thing is basically the fact that him and his friend used to fight a lot. Like his friend is just as strong as him, or stronger than him as it's being displayed to us. But sadly, his friend got sick and now his friend's in the hospital, and Han Dae-wi is paying all these medical bills, working all of these part-time jobs in order to pay for all of those medical bills for his friend. So he's going around the clock, and the reason he joins the God of High School is because they can grant any wish, and his wish is to heal his friend and to pay for all of his medical bills to make sure his homie is taken care of. As far as Yu Mi Ra goes, she's basically recruited to the God of High School because she's strong, obviously, right? But she's also strong due to her family's moon fighting style, and she has a strong family lineage, right? A huge part of her character that was shown in the manhwa is that she basically wants to save her family's reputation in a sense. Like she wants to revive her whole family. Like it's like how Sasuke is trying to revive the Uchiha clan, right? She's trying to revive like the strength within her family. So a lot of things that's going on with her is that she's looking for somebody strong to mate with, you know, just to find a strong husband overall that can fight. And that's what she's attracted to, strong guys, in order to revive her family's lineage. And she believes fighting in the God of High School will help her find and achieve a strong mate such as this, because that's what she's into, strong guys for his family's lineage. Or at least that's my understanding. But as far as introductions go, that's a lot of the main context / a lot of missing pieces in the story that you would be shown through the first 3 episodes of the story. Like you'll get little glimpses of it as you're watching, especially during the scene where they're all walking together or whatever. You'll see little glimpses of their motivations, and especially with Han Dae-wi, you see a lot of his sick friend where he goes to visit him a lot in the story. And you're not the only thing for me is that the first 3 episodes, I thought it was going to be the introductions of Jin Marie, Han Dae-wi, and Yu Mi Ra, but instead they hopped right into the action, right into the tournament. That's understandable because they have a lot to cover in 12 episodes, but this was a lot of the missing context when it came to explaining who our 3 main characters of the story were going to be. Now, next up for this section, I want to describe pacing in certain contexts, okay? And to make this video short and sweet, I'll only include the most important things in my opinion that was left out, or some things I will go over briefly and give a short description of. Starting off, I'd like to mention the fact that in literally every single fight, okay, we get context that refers to each martial art and how it works. And for example, like in the fight with like that guy named Kong Min Sok or whatever, right? I'm sorry, I butchered that again. He fought against Go Gamado, okay? And when we saw this fight between them at first, right, it was just like, okay, two dudes fighting. Like, Kong is kind of a douchebag, and Go Gamado is seen as the better guy or whatever, because he's just not an overall annoying, you know what I mean? But for the manhwa, we get a lot better feeling of watching this fight because we actually learn about who the two characters were before they were in this tournament, okay? Like, at first you might think that Kong was a terrible person, okay, but until you learn his backstory, you can't just straight up hate him. And in the manhwa, which I doubt we'll ever go back over in the anime again, but in the manhwa we get a lot more context to who he was. First of all, Kong was a kid that got bullied, okay? And he got bullied bad. Like, I'm talking about beaten extremely hard, like begging for his life type of beating. Like, this is mentally deteriorating, mentally excruciating types of beatings, okay? And so he left school for a year or so, and then he came back and he learned Northern Taekwondo, and he came back and he either destroyed everybody that bullied him mentally and physically, or he killed them, okay? And honestly, I can, like, seeing the way that was depicted in the manga, I should be putting some pictures up on screen, hopefully I don't get copyrighted, but like seeing how bad they just deteriorated him to that point, it's honestly like normal to see why he ended up being as big as a douchebag as he was. Like, he saw that you needed power and greed to strive in this world. You need to be a douchebag, you need to be ruthless. So that's exactly why he came with the type of energy he did when he tried to fight Go Gamado, and that's why he tore him up so bad. Now, even with information like this, you might still feel bad for Go Gamado, okay? Because Go Gamado is only in this tournament to also help heal his sick master that helped him learn how to fight, and his master got sick because of some gangsters or whatever, but like, that all doesn't matter. But honestly, his whole backstory makes you feel bad for him. But seeing the context that the manhwa gave for both Kong and Go Gamado, you can honestly not root for either in this fight, okay? Because it's just a matter of two different upbringings. They both went through something honestly traumatic, and they're all both fighting for a certain goal to make themselves okay in the end of the day. So that's a prime example of something that, I mean, the anime honestly left out. And more recently, we learned that, you know, in episode 3 where the whole disqualification thing was supposed to happen, and in order for Jin Marie not to get disqualified after he ran up on Kong during the fight, in order to stop him from honestly bodying Go, we learned that Jin has to fight the green-haired instructor, right? And you notice in his tone, right, he's like, dang, why did I get stuck with this, right? But in the manhwa, we know exactly why he did, because in the anime it gives you a sense of it was just a bad look at the draw, right? But in the manhwa, we get shown that he was the only person to vote no on him being removed from the tournament, leading to him having to fight Jin Marie. But while we're on the topic of the green guy, right, I would like to also bring up the blonde instructor, okay? Because I don't know if it's obvious, but to me it's obvious that the blonde instructor and the green-haired instructor, they both have some sort of rivalry between each other, right? But in the manhwa, that gets a lot more expanded on. You know how I mentioned earlier that Jin Marie broke the blonde instructor's arm when he went to recruit him, right? Well, you know, when they all pulled up on Jin Marie to stop him from interrupting the tournament any further, basically, during that time, all the instructors were sharing words, blah, 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 doing all of that, right? And the green instructor mentions in front of everyone, in fact, so loud that the whole tournament could hear him, that Jin Marie broke the blonde instructor's arm when he went to recruit him. So this leads to everyone being shocked, the blonde instructor being embarrassed, and the green instructor just laughing and clowning on him, embarrassing him in front of everybody. Further feeling on to the fact that they have a huge rivalry going on that we're probably going to get more in depth to as we go on in the story. But after that, blonde instructor's like, hey yo bro, that was mad disrespectful. So we cut to a scene in the manhwa where they go out and fight in between the tournament matches right before Jin Marie is supposed to fight the green instructor. And honestly, seeing the fact that they cut all of this out, I can see that it may not be as important right now, and it's probably going to be important a lot later. But honestly, from reading the manhwa and from my standpoint, it seems pretty important to me. Like, this is some stuff that I honestly don't know if you should cut out or not, because it honestly adds a lot more feel and a lot more background and a lot more context to certain things that happen in this story. And I think a lot more people should read the manhwa side by side in order to learn a lot more context. But going into further things that aren't as important, but they are almost fundamental to the story a little bit, that honestly makes the story a little bit cooler for me, is that every single fight they went into detail about the certain types of taekwondo, and even during the Go and the Kong fight, they showed how Kong's fighting style of Northern Taekwondo was developed, where it came from, and that was just honestly something that was missing in the anime, and I feel like they're gonna do that a lot more going forward. And in the manhwa, they actually do go hella in depth with a lot of these fighting styles, what they're actually supposed to be, and honestly, that's something really cool. And honestly, it cuts out from a lot of the fights a lot. Like, they do it mid fight, and it honestly slows the fight down a little bit, so I see why they have to cut that out in order to save time. But it's honestly something really cool in the series that I would like to see included at least once or twice, at least a little bit more than they have been doing. But for my final point, character development wise, okay, now you guys might not say we're missing much, okay, but there are little inklings of things that I feel like as viewers you should be aware about. Like, I don't know if you remember that scene where Jin Mori dropped Yumi's sword in the water, right? Well, honestly, that scene played out a lot different when it came to the manhwa, okay? Now, in the scene in the manhwa, basically some bikers attacked, and then Jin Mori came and protected her. He jumped on top of her, and it led to him doing somewhat of an ecchi scene where he grabbed her boob or whatever, and she pushed him off and all of this. But during that, her sword fell into the river, right? And after that, the bikers rode off or whatever, and that wasn't shown in the anime, but in the manhwa, they rode off, they left, and then after that, the whole slap scene happens that happened in the anime, and she tells him to go home, right? And then they come back, Jin Mori brings his own light, and then Han brings his own light, and honestly a really cute character development moment. But it was the whole biker thing wasn't hella important, because I don't think it's gonna play in later on. But I just think the fact that it showed that Jin was willing to protect her, and showed her blushing when he fell on top of her, and that gave little inklings of a possible love story that could go on. They're just little hints and drops, okay, that we didn't get in the anime. And it also showed them a little bit more united as a group. The fact that Han went back and fought the bikers afterwards and made them help look for the lights and so on. Like, it showed them more unified as a friend group, becoming closer and closer throughout the story. And that was honestly something really cool that I honestly wouldn't have minded saying. I know you got a lot to wrap up, but that's something that you could have put in there, okay? It was honestly an action, so I would think that it should have been included within the story. But I guess the scene that we did get in the anime still showed that they're all homies, and they're all coming together to be somewhat of a friend group. But everything else I left out is either too insignificant to cover, or I missed it. Please let me know in the comments down below what I missed, or how I can do better on these videos. Let me know if you guys like these videos. This is something new I'm trying now, just to cover what was missed, because God of High School honestly takes out a lot of things, okay? And it's understandable because they only have 12 episodes to wrap everything up. I'm not hating on creators or nothing like that. I love God of High School so far. The fights look raw, the animation is crazy, and I'm honestly feeling the story so far. But I just wanted to cover everything that was left out that some viewers might have wanted a little bit more context on. But my name is Tine Pizza, and I will see you pizza people later. Peace.